Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's Penny, and as I often do on Wednesdays, I go live with my cat chat. Today, for the first time, I'm going live on LinkedIn. Hopefully, there's some people there. Hello. I'm also live on YouTube and live on Facebook in my private group, Pet Lovers Connection. For those of you who are new to me and the cat chat, in addition to all of the things that I do, I'm a science writer, I'm a paleontologist, I'm a photographer, a digital artist. I also have opened my house to senior and hospice cats and special needs cats. There are a lot of cats in this house, and I fully expect that somebody's going to climb into my lap here real soon. But one of the challenges with taking in so many cats, especially ones with high needs, and those that are already elderly, and those that are definitely hospice cats, is that it is not an unusual occurrence for one of the cats to pass away. This last week, actually just Monday, I lost a cat who had been with me only about 3 years, but I got him at a shelter. He had spent 6 months in the shelter because he was already a senior. I think he was 12. He was already a senior, and no one would adopt him because he's hyperthyroid. His name is Snickerdoodle. He was in the photo in the little opening card here for this broadcast, and I called him my boyfriend. I have never had any organism look at me with the kind of love and adoration as that cat did. I miss him desperately. Probably after years of dealing with hyperthyroidism and the medications required, his kidneys finally gave up. And with kidney failure, it's usually a very fast progression of a cat being perfectly healthy to a cat being gone. So the question arises then, and I see this a lot in the various cat groups, and it's a difficult thing to address, but I think it's important that we address it, which is, how do you know? How do you know when it's time? When do you let them go? And you see a lot of kind of useless advice. So, you'll know. You'll know. And the truth is, probably nobody will know better than you. But it also is worthwhile. You can hope that you have a veterinarian who's going to be honest with you. For example, with Snickerdoodle, I have a good relationship with our veterinarian, and I brought him in as an emergency on Saturday, and she suspected that it was kidney failure, and I don't disagree. But we agreed that there was a chance that he could recover from this, at least, and we could manage it with subcutaneous fluids, which I'm familiar with. So we decided to try that first. I'm fortunate that I have a veterinarian who is confident in my abilities to deal with these hard cases, and also, in the cases I've brought in animals, and she's told me that no, this is there's no way out of this. We've always done the right thing. I hope that everybody out there has a veterinarian that they trust, who's not going to BS them, that's not going to sugarcoat things, but also who's not so insensitive that, it's terrible. But in the end, it boils down to a bunch of things. One is, you're going to know. And also you do have to, it's a very real thing. It's expensive sometimes to care for an ill cat. And you might have to consider that too. Can you manage it? I call it magic money. I have a credit card. I go to great lengths to support the cats. But in the end, it boils down to quality of life. I mean, we have to consider the cat before us, especially if we've known this cat for a while. We know its behaviors. We know what he liked to do, where he liked to sleep, what he liked to eat, how often he ate. And when you start seeing changes, you have to be aware. And in the case of Snickerdoodle, he was still eating eagerly, but he was not feeling well. He obviously did not feel well. He was looking at me like asking for help. It was awful. I will not get upset. Um, Sometimes it's more obvious than others, but you have to consider whether or not the life that your cat or your dog or whatever is living is the kind of quality of life that they're eager to greet the day. I mean, if they have some mobility issues, okay, that's all right. You can work with them. You can give them pain meds, maybe. Subcutaneous fluids is a thing for kidney failure that works quite frequently. Um, as long as they're still engaged and interested and not suffering unnecessarily, then it's probably not time yet. But when you can tell that they're struggling and they're upset and they're frustrated and their life just isn't what it was, and you have a veterinarian and you know that it's not going back. It's not going to go back to what it was. Then it's probably time. And one of the things I do, I should clarify at this point, a lot of people might suspect that, well, Penny, you work with hospice animals. They pass away all the time. Your heart is hardened to this. It doesn't bother you as much. No, wrong. Every time I lose an animal, I ugly cry in the vet's office. Okay? It's horrible. Snickerdoodle was my boyfriend. I mean, he was one of the greatest cats I've ever had, and I cried, and I still want to cry, and I've lost a lot of cats, and I cry over every one of them, no matter what happens. But then the one thing that working with hospice cats and having all sorts of cats at home is it does help me refocus and stay on top of things, and I have the opportunity to turn my energy to other animals that need me. So the grieving process is a little different for me, but it still is an ugly, awful thing. And I lost Snickerdoodle on Monday. That was 2 days ago. Yesterday, I was useless all day. Completely useless all day. I tried to do stuff. It was funny. I couldn't make words. It was just blah, 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 coming out of my mouth. It was not a good thing. Today, I'm doing better. And it helps to have the support of a community and other things. So, yeah, I have built-in mechanisms to help me cope, but it's still the emotional attachment I have to these cats is every bit as strong as anyone else's. And I do ugly cry and I move forward. That working with so many cats, it does help me perhaps recognize when the time is near. Perhaps I'm more inclined to recognize the subtle changes, and maybe I'm actually in a better place to do something about it, postpone. But I think it's also important at this point to tell people that in as much as we want our animals to live forever, we want ourselves to live forever, we want our family members to live forever, as dark as it sounds, death is an inevitability. And with our animals, we have the opportunity to make that final decision a comfortable one. And that's something you should keep in mind too when you're trying to decide, is it time? Is it time? Is it time? You don't want to wait too long. You really don't. Now, so don't wait too long. Do what needs to be done when it's time to do it. Mourn their loss and then move on. I don't we do the best that we can for our animals, and we care for them. We have the opportunity to take care of them at the end. I do encourage people. It is hard. It's no lie. It is very hard. But as much as you can, be present. Your animals love you. They trust you. It's difficult, but be with your animal at those very last breaths, because they know you and they trust you. And yes, you may ugly cry, and that's okay. Vets don't care. Vets want you to be there, because otherwise they have to deal with a panicked animal looking for its person in its last moments. So the long and the short of it is, when it's time, you need to balance the quality of life of your animal and what kind of care you can give. I hope for each and every one of you that if you have animals, you have a veterinarian that you trust. And remember that this is a final gift that you can give your pet. And think of it as that. Express your love to them. Take care of them. Grieve, because we do grieve, and our animals are as much part of our family as the people are. And, enjoy them while you have them. Remember them healthy. And then, carry on. Maybe add another animal into your home after that. I hope this isn't a big downer for your Wednesday. I mean, it's fresh in my mind because I did just lose an animal. But I feel like it's important to talk to people about it and realize that this is something that we all, if we have pets, we are going to have to deal with it, no matter what pet we have. I hope you all have a blessed rest of your day and rest of your week. And please stay warm and safe and healthy.